it's National Fitness Day on Wednesday, today I'm going to share some different physical activities that you could do with your early years child to help them to keep fit and healthy. And towards the end, I'll also discuss how you can support eating with your fussy eater as well. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat section and we'll get back to you. So when your child is between 0 and 1, it's recommended that they engage in tummy time. Tummy time is a great way to develop your child's strength in their neck, shoulders and back, and can actually be done from being a newborn. So as soon as you bring your baby home, they can engage in tummy time. To start with, just for a couple of minutes, either on your chest or on your lap, and encourage them to move a little bit. As your child gets a little bit older, you could do this on the floor, on a blanket, and add in some different resources that are going to encourage them to move around, such as bubbles, rattles, mirrors, and different things like that. It's a great way to develop their strength, which they will need in order to perform gross motor movements, which are big movements, such as crawling, cruising along furniture, and then eventually walking. So its NHS guidelines recommend that children should have about 30 minutes of tummy time spread throughout the day until they're about 1. When your child is between 1 and 5 years old, it's recommended that they get about 180 minutes of physical activity every day. But don't worry, that's not 180 minutes of running around, but it also includes things such as playing and also engaging in fine motor activities, which are little movements performed by the hands and fingers and toes and feet. So firstly, you could engage in some outdoor play. It's a great way to allow children to explore their physical development because there's such an open space. Simply going out in your local area on a walk will help your child to develop physical skills. You could make it a little bit more interesting, especially as it's autumn. You could have a look at the different changes of the seasons, and you could encourage your child to collect a range of conkers or leaves, and that will help their physical development as well as they're leaning down and grabbing the resources too. You could also get them to retell different stories by adding in different movements whilst you're on a walk as well. Next, you could engage in some child yoga. You might be thinking, yoga with a child, but it's a great calming activity that will support your child's physical and mental well-being and will also help them to develop strength, balance and endurance as well. We've got a range of useful yoga packs on the Twinkle Parents Hub, including this animal yoga cards pack, which is being added into the comment section. So this is full of different animal yoga poses that you could do with your early years child. Encourage them to hold the positions for as long as possible, and it's a great way to also support their imagination skills as well as they pretend to be different animals. I'm sure they'll love it. You might get them to add in some sound effects to support their phase 1 phonics as well. You could also add in different stories whilst your child's being a different animal, just to make it a little bit more exciting and engaging as well. You could do this inside on a little towel or a blanket, or even do it outside as well. It's just a great way to develop lots of different physical development skills, such as coordination and balance as well. Next, why not have a little look at this football skills games for children? This is a brilliant resource because it explains different skills that your child will need in order to be able to play a game of football in the future. So if they really like and are interested in football, it's a great resource to look at. It's split into different age phases, which is really useful. So when your child is about 2, they should be able to kind of stand on one foot. They need to be able to stand on one foot to be able to kick a ball. So you could do different things like Simon says, or even games like hopscotch. As your child reaches about 4 years old, it's a good idea to engage in some different cross-body movements, which require both sides of the body to work together. There's just lots of lovely ideas on there to engage in. Another great way to support your child's physical development is through engaging with a range of nursery rhymes. Lots of nursery rhymes encourage your little one to do different movements, whether that's little movements with the hands or large gross motor movements with the whole body, such as head, shoulders, knees and toes, and hop little bunnies. We've also got a really useful song on the Twinkle Parents Hub, which is all about superhero movements. So this superhero movement song is really nice because you could explain that superheroes need to keep fit and healthy so that they're strong and fast, but us as humans also need to exercise and keep fit and healthy as well. If your child's a little bit older, you might encourage them to feel their heartbeat and the heart rate before they engage with the song, and then have a look at it after as well to see if they can notice a difference, and really talk about the importance of engaging in exercise. So this song is in the tune of The Wheels in the Bus, and it's a really nice one because it explains different movements for your little one to do, but also how that's helping them as well. So we jump up and down to build our strength. Some lots of lovely different ideas that you could have a go at, and it's, just be warned, it is quite catchy as well. So you don't have to stop the superhero theme there. You could then engage in an indoor obstacle course. You could do this using things you've already got, such as cushions for stepping stones. You could use a rolled up blanket for your child to have a go at balancing across, and they might have a go at doing some different movements, some superhero movements while they engage in that as well. If you've got an old cardboard box, they could have a go at crawling through it, or you could even use chairs for them to have a go at moving under as well. It's just a great way to support your child's physical development, but also their imaginative skills, as they can engage in a role-playing exercise as well by pretending to be a superhero. Let me just have a little look. So now I'm just going to talk about some different fine motor activities that you could do with your child. So as I've said, fine motor skills are really important to develop strength in your child's hands and fingers, and it will allow them to use different handheld resources, such as a pencil in the future, and even doing things like using a cup to drink and a knife and fork to eat. This is a really easy activity that you could do to support those fine motor skills. So I've just got an old chocolate box there, and I've got some pom-poms, and your child could have a go at using a peg, or they might want to use child-safe tweezers. It's completely up to you, or just their fingers, and using it that way will support those fine motor skills. You could also use this to enhance your child's math skills by using a dice as well and seeing if they can add that amount of pom-poms in, or they could have a go at matching it to the correct shape. You might even add in some different coloured stickers and use it as a colour matching exercise as well. I'm just going to show now a really useful guide from the Twinkl website that's full of different fine motor activities. So as I've said, you need to be able to have good fine motor skills and gross motor skills to be able to write in the future. So this is called Ready to Write Fine Motor Challenges. There's lots of different ideas on here. I think there's 12 different ones. And you might have a little look at this and think, well, I already do that. Well, that's brilliant, because fine motor activities kind of come throughout the day naturally anyway. So engaging modelling dough is a great way to support fine motor skills. You could use modelling dough by putting some music on as well and having a little disco. You get your child to move around with some dough in their hand as well. And they could have a go at squeezing it, passing it around their body, pinching it, poking it. It's just a great way to develop fine motor skills, but also gross motor skills if they're having a little dance as well. For different things such as building blocks, and also going outside and using some chalk on the patio or on the fence, and then using a spray bottle to get rid of it. It's a great way to support your child's fine motor skills, and if they're on the patio, their gross motor skills if they're moving around to make a road, for example, or a little map. So now I'm just going to do a little bit of talk about how you could help your fussy eater if you've got a fussy eater at home, or if they're going through the beige stage. So fussy eaters are quite common in children because a range of different foods have different tastes, textures, and especially fruit and veg can be quite unpredictable. So it can be quite tricky to know how an apple is going to taste, for example, whereas a chocolate bar, if it's the same one, will taste the same every time. It's a good idea to allow your child to explore with food in their play, whether that's in a small world setup of a farm and you've got some different foods in there that your child could have a go at eating, or even things such as printing with apples or different things like that as well. I'd definitely recommend getting your child, if they're old enough, to help you to make the meal as well. It's a great way to encourage them to want to have a try of what you've made. You could also introduce some different games during meal times as well to kind of take their mind off of it, whether that's a what sound am I or a I Spy game. Things like that will really help. Being added into the comment section now is a resource full of quick recipes for fussy eaters if you're running out of ideas of different things to try with your little one. That's it for me today. I hope you found it useful, but if you've got any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat section and we'll get back to you. Have a lovely day and a lovely weekend. See you soon.